Hi, this is Dee at Aloha Astro, and we're taking a look at the new moon in Scorpio that's occurring tomorrow on the 30th of October. And the exact time for it will be at 1:38 p.m. Eastern Time. Before I get into that too much, I just want to take a quick look over here. Some people have told me that they have a hard time finding my Book Now button, which is right here. And I couldn't understand that because it's right there. However, if you're looking at my website, alohaastro.com, on your phone, what the program is doing that serves it up on the phone is it takes my sidebar and it puts everything down at the bottom. I will be looking at correcting this by moving this button away from the sidebar and sticking it right in the main body, right up top here. And that way, if you are on your phone, you should be able to access that Book Now button right here. But if you are on your phone and you read the first line, it says click here, that should be an active link that takes you right to the booking site where you can look at my schedule. So I will be moving this in the near future, but in the meantime, that should be an active link for you to click. So let's go back to the moon phases. October 30th, 1:38 p.m., new moon in Scorpio. I can close this one back up now. Can close this up. Let's take a look at what else we've got here. It will be occurring at 7 degrees and 44 minutes of Scorpio, and the Sabian symbol, I've been taught that you round up. Now, I see some people posting online the 7 degree of Scorpio Sabian symbol in their posts on the new moon, and then a few people are posting the 8 degrees. I would say read both if you have an interest. This is something that you can Google. Sabian symbols gives you an emotional look or an intuitive look at what that particular degree of the new moon is, and you might gain something out of reading what it has to say about either deep sea divers or a calm lake bathed in moonlight. I actually feel as though the 8 degrees is the one that's dominating here, because 7 degrees 44 minutes is really close to being 8 degrees. A quiet openness to higher inspiration. So this will be a new moon of going within, going underneath, and some of Scorpio energy is that hiddenness, that underneathness, the thing that's kept protected by that hard shell on the outside. So going within would be something that is advisable at the new moon, to think deeply about things, or maybe even look at the things that are uncomfortable in your life or that cause you any type of pain or frustration, and look at the process of release or healing and what you are willing to let go of so that you can move forward in life. Each particular sign will feel a new moon in a different way. For any Scorpio individual, sun sign Scorpio, this is kind of like your new year or your new beginning. Over here at Planet Watcher, let's just move this forward a day to tomorrow. So we have the new moon here, and we can look at what the rest of the aspects to the other transiting planets are. This is a picture here of where the planets are right now and the aspects that the moon will be making tomorrow to the various planets. This is not, of course, looking at your own individual natal chart. That is something that you could do for yourself over here if you are into do-it-yourself. Put in your birth data at astro.com and you can access all kinds of free charts. The personal daily horoscope there, which is free, will show you what the transits are right now to your natal chart and will tell you what they mean. So that's a great resource for you. This is another way of looking at where the planets are right now by transit. Let's go back over here. So back to Scorpio energy and the idea of revealing things that are hidden. Scorpio is also very concerned with the energy of all or nothing, high road, low road, With Scorpio, you can experience the energy of extremes. Scorpio rules the 8th house, and it is ruled by the planet Pluto. Pluto is a planet that has to do with power and control and intensity, upheaval, crisis, transformation. So wherever you have Scorpio in your chart, or wherever you have Pluto in your chart, is going to be triggered. And the way to find that out is to know your ascendant or rising sign. Now, very briefly, I'm going to run through the different signs and what house you would have this new moon occurring in, potentially. If you have an Aries ascendant, you'll be having this occur in your 8th house. If you have a Taurus ascendant, this would be your 7th house new moon. If you are a Gemini ascendant, the 6th house. Cancer ascendant, the 5th house. Leo ascendant, the 4th house. Virgo ascendant, the 3rd house. Libra ascendant, the 2nd house. Scorpio ascendant, the 1st house. Sagittarius ascendant, the 12th house. Capricorn ascendant, the 11th house. Aquarius ascendant, the 10th house. Pisces ascendant, the 9th house. So that would be the house in your chart most likely to be affected by this new moon if you know your rising sign. And you can easily find out your rising sign or ascendant when you go and look at your free chart at astro.com. Also, I have a little widget on my site. I shouldn't have closed that up, but it's right on the side. Find your ascendant. Plug that in. Under freebies, you can get your birth chart, your ascendant and its significance. You do need to know your birth time to find your ascendant, and everything else follows along after that ascendant. The houses, which are the areas of life. So try to find out your birth data so that you can work with that and find out where you actually have that Scorpio new moon occurring. And that will give you an idea of what area of life is going to be active. Now, if we look generally at the fact that Scorpio rules the 8th house, and that's its natural garage where it parks right now, the sun is parked there in Scorpio. Scorpio issues will come up for everyone, and for many people this can involve issues of life and death, crisis, drama, mortality. The 8th house traditionally rules things like sex, death, taxes, metaphysics, the occult, investment, insurance, inheritance, and business partnerships. And that sounds like a lot of diverse type of things, but they all have to do with where we share our assets or we merge our boundaries. And this is something that has to do with values, especially in things that you might feel very serious about. There is an intensity, a passion, or a seriousness to Scorpio energy. So you may find your buttons being pushed with the new moon over something that is very important to you. And what that might be shown to you by where that new moon is occurring, in what house. So, for instance, an Aries ascendant, it might be 8th house issues. Those things I mentioned. A Taurus ascendant, it might be about relationship because the 7th house would be triggered. A Gemini ascendant, it might be about service-related work, your daily job, your health, your habits, and your hygiene. A Cancer ascendant, the 5th house, romance, children, and creativity. Leo, the 4th house, this has to do with home and family and your psychological foundations. Virgo, the 3rd house, this would have to do with your local neighborhood, people you treat like brothers and sisters, your own brothers and sisters, and your imagination, your formative ideas. It's a communication house. Libra, the 2nd house, money, personal values. Scorpio, as I said, the 1st house. Sagittarius, the 1st house is self, how you project yourself out there to the world and how people respond to you. Sagittarius, the 12th house, it's a house of going within and basically working on your own inner world, your inner life, dream state, meditation, your beliefs. Capricorn, the 11th house, friends, groups, and organizations. Aquarius, the 10th house, career, where you stand out there in the world. Pisces, the 9th house, higher education, the gathering of information and experiences, or the sharing of information and experiences, foreign travel, other cultures, philosophy. It's a very broad house. So these may be the areas for each individual rising sign that would be active, and you kind of blend in the energy there of the Scorpio intensity and the all or nothing, or bringing stuff up that's hidden, and then starting out in a fresh cycle under a new light with a new plan in mind. And the willpower that comes with Scorpio energy is particularly strong. So it doesn't matter what your sun sign is or what your rising sign is. Whatever you initiate now at this new moon can carry forward a great deal of that all or nothing intensity, that persistent fixed energy. Water is one of the strongest elements, of course, in nature. You know, a little drip, 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 drip can wear away at rock over time. So, you know, water moves around things, and it bends and it adjusts and it flows, but it is also an incredibly strong force. So we have the energy of fixed, which is Scorpio. It's a fixed sign, which means stubborn or persistent and steady, follows through from start to finish, along with water. And you have a great deal of willpower behind you right now with this new moon. No matter what your sun sign, no matter where this new moon occurs in your chart, you can adhere to something, begin something, adhere, and take it through to its conclusion. If you have enough passion for it, or you feel strongly enough about it, go for it, do it. Now, if we look at the aspects here with the moon and the sun and Mercury conjunct, this also means if you put your mind to something, you know, where there's a will, there will be a way. And it is also backed up by the inspiration or faith, idealism, the willingness to believe in something that is unseen. And that would be Neptune in Pisces, forming a trine to this gathering of planets here. And we also have a sextile over here to the North Node. So if something feels purposeful or that you must do it, follow through. Believe that it can happen and apply yourself and make it happen. We also have a weakening trine here with the North Node and Pluto. Pluto, of course, rules Scorpio. So look toward purpose. Look toward your aim or goal. It's not just about money, perhaps. This is about something that you feel you must do, or you feel that it's important, a priority, a necessity, because of the Virgo energy involved here. What is important? What's necessary? What's the priority? And whittle that down. Of course, a lot of focus is going to be on the election, and I am not going to say anything about that. I've been right the last 3 elections, and I just don't even want to look this time, because I think I have too much emotional involvement and attachment to, you know, who might potentially be our next president. So I'm not even going to delve into the whole who would win type of a thing. There's plenty of that online already, and so I'll just leave that alone. I really just like to look at people's natal charts, help them figure out what's going on in their life based on the transits. How can they activate what's in their chart and make the most of who they are? How can they navigate the future? How can they help their plans come to fruition? That's what I prefer to do. So I stay personal, don't get political, but there would definitely be a lot of passion right now around government, and a lot of confrontation and anger because of Mars and Pluto in Capricorn. Capricorn does rule that traditional governmental type of authority, figure, energy, vibe. Mars is action, it's anger. Pluto is power, control. These two together, you kind of have like fire and lava, and I don't know. You know, they're still conjunct 8 degrees apart. But it's loosening, it's letting go, it will be leaving soon. And once that election occurs and Mars moves on, we're all going to breathe a sigh of relief no matter what happens. So, phew, whatever does happen is going to produce change, and there are going to be people who are very happy with the change and people who are not, because we have Aries, Uranus and Aries upstart energy that wants something new, and then we've got, the crisis, the drama, the transformation of Pluto there. And this is a square, and squares are always tough, and not everybody's going to be happy. But the changes that come about or that are forced by this type of a transit, they shape the energy of society and how we react and respond. And this is really kind of like when a push comes to shove type of energy. So if people get agitated and want to change things, they will. This is good in a way. And you can also look at, well, where is this square occurring in your own natal chart? Where do you need to transform? Where do you need to clear out? Where do you need to use anger, perhaps, or rage effectively? How can you change the things where you might be self-sabotaging? How can you let go of the old stuff that is literally, just shooting you in the foot? So it can be a powerful release time with this new moon. We have Venus exactly conjunct Saturn in Sagittarius, and this softens the harshness of Saturn, and it makes it a little bit easier to hold on to higher ideals, or to literally, no matter what occurs, say, well, this has to be for my highest good, or it's better in the long run, or I'm sure we'll see something good come out of this. Venus always lends her light and her beauty to any planet that she joins and has a softening effect. And Sagittarius energy is very hopeful and optimistic and wants to take the higher path and wants to look ahead toward the future in a positive way. So there is some benevolence here. The trine is weakening or fading. There's 7 degrees now there. That's why we barely see that little triangle. So this is fading as Venus moves along, and she moves at a relatively quick rate. So this will not be a major aspect, but it is still a stabilizing and a hopeful aspect. And we do have this trine here, which is very strong. And the fact that Neptune, which lends compassion, beauty, inspiration, grace, healing, and the allowance for miracles to come into your life, this basically says you have an open line right now to faith and miracles and angelic energy, spiritual energy to be able to come through. For those of you who are intuitive, you will be more so during this new moon. For those who do not think you are psychic, or who have never really experienced anything profound on the level of psychic ability, open up to the possibility that you may be able to do that or be that way at this new moon. And if you do have questions to ask of your ancestors or those people in your life who have passed on, this is actually a very clear, open, and direct line to the other side. And you don't need to go find a medium to do it. This is basically saying we can all get in on the party line right now and make that phone call and ask the questions or communicate, especially while we're looking at Halloween and we have that All Hallows Eve, and the veil between worlds is potentially thinner. So open up and speak to your loved ones who have passed on and have a conversation and see what types of things you hear or see or experience afterwards that show you that, they are still there. We continue to exist, and the people that we love continue to live on. And I do believe that if we open up at the new moon to this energy and participate in that idea behind the Day of the Dead festival and All Hallows Eve, that this is clear line, direct line that will open up the channels of communication. So happy Halloween, happy new moon, and stop by and visit me. And if you would like to have a reading, I'm available, and I'd love to work with you. Take care.